Okay. Hello, everyone. We are looking at everything. It looks cool. Looks nice. And here we are. Live once again. Let's just go here. This is green. This is good. CPU isn't bad. Cool. Oops. Hey everybody, welcome aboard. And this is, of course, the Shortwave radio show. We are here every Fridays at 2000 hours Universal Time to talk about radio. And hope that you're going to enjoy the show. Today I want to talk QSL cards and show you some QSL of my own collection from old times past and new times. So hope everybody's going to enjoy today's show. We are, of course, my name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and we talk about radio, tuned bands on this SDR Play RSP1A, and hopefully have a little bit of fun. I'm going to actually tune a little frequency that I've been having fun with, 5732 upper sideband, because it's one of the U.S. Army COTHAM frequencies, and there's communications in different modes, single sideband, AL, digital modes, and so on. It's kind of interesting. It's, listening to the U.S. Army there. It's one of the many frequencies that are active, and I stumbled across it by accident this week while tuning around the bands, and thanks to the SDR, because I could see on the line on the waterfall the signal appear. So it was kind of cool. So there's a nice chat room for anybody that wants to join in the fun. And in the chat room, you can, of course, ask questions. There's some wonderful people, great people there that actually will help you out. And hope that everybody is going and doing fine. My beer, I've got a different kind of beer. I got a six-pack of, it's called the Adventurers Pack. And the first one that I have is a Scotch Ale, which is a Loch Ness. So this is the beer I'm having right now, the first one, 6%. And I've got Dead Valley, and I've got a Cannon. So I'm going to taste those beer. Hope everybody enjoys the show. And hey, everybody. Richard Cook, nice to have you here from the UK. Bobby Burgess, hello there from Morgan City, Louisiana, USA. Matt Ambali in Colorado. The Vaults, nice to have you on board, my friend from Latvia. What else do we have? Scott Cranston, nice to have you on board from Massachusetts. And it says the African station's really rolling in here this afternoon. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Scott Cranston had 15580 Voice of America and 7445 BBC World Service. Cool. Pretty cool. I had the Voice of America. I was listening to the Voice of America in the last hour on 15580. It was really, really good signal. Absolutely. Nick Amendelt, hey, from Romania. Nice to have you here. Mark Cope, 15490 BBC Relay Ascension Islands. Strong in Dallas. Nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Scott Cranston had 9940 Transworld Radio from Swaziland. I heard it 3 days ago. I was tuning around and I came across 9940. And I had a pretty good signal. Sutter Flyer 1, nice to have you here. Richard Cook's got super strong China radio on 7435. Hey Matt, nice to have you on board. MTK2, Colorado, WA0080SWL or KE0SFC. Jack, N9IIF, nice to have you on board, my friend. What else do we have? Radio Telescope. Nice to have you here. PLF Radio. Bonjour, bienvenue de la France et bienvenue et bonjour du Québec. Toujours un plaisir. Yeah, my YouTube t-shirt. Decided, hey, I'm doing YouTube. Why not wear my YouTube t-shirt today? Cheers, everyone. Matt has a fighting signal of Voice of Nigeria and Radio Exterior de España 9690. David Arden, nice to have you on board. Says, been waiting for this all day. Wow. KJ4CMY, nice to have you here. And Bobby Burgess, yeah, if you want, announce it in the chat room. It's okay, Bobby. Vianney Arsenault, bonjour, bienvenue. De la Gaspésie. VA2 VMA. Nice to have you here, my friend, from the eastern part of the province of Quebec. Al Catalan, nice to have you here. Gaspésie is the east part, completely in the east part of the province of Quebec. So it's a good distance from Montreal. Pretty good distance from Montreal. DE1FTK, shortwave listener, nice to have you on board from Germany. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Yeah, it's a good 8 hours. It's as long to go to Gaspésie as it would be to go to New York from here by car, honestly. Fanny Xanakis, nice to have you on board from Denmark. Pretty cool. Red Wine Vienna, cool. Neil Toombs, nice to have you here. From England, playing with some FT8 on 2 meter SSB. Oh wow, I've never tried FT8 on 2 meter. I should try that. Bill Allen, nice to have you here. Complete beginner. I have a RTL SDR and a Grunning G6 portable. Just hanging a long wire right now. Live in country, no homeowner association. What antenna should step up to? I don't know what bands to target. If you are in the country and far from pretty much everybody, a really long wire is one of the best antennas you'll have actually for listening to shortwave. It all depends on the noise you've got around you, for sure. But start by putting up a long wire outdoors. Fanny Xanakis, yeah, it is pretty dark, and I would say it's not far from a Guinness actually in taste, honestly. Page Master, nice to have you here from Moore, Oklahoma. What else do we have? Philip Radio, KNX4. So we're close to getting a minor geomagnetic storm that's possible this weekend because of the solar wind. Jerry DX, nice to have you here. Ronald Hester, nice to have you on board from North Carolina. Vinny Romano, nice to have you on board from West Virginia. And Randy in Riverside, California, nice to have you here. Pretty cool, Vancouver Island DXer. Well, you'll be giving us a preview of what you will be talking about in your new CIDX utility column. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it, absolutely. VE7AUL. For those that don't know, I have joined the ranks of a column editor at the Canadian International DX Club. So from starting in January, I started with the first little introduction column. I will be the guy behind the World of Utilities, which is a column dedicated to utilities. There haven't been a lot of that talk, mentioned in the messenger bulletin in a while, and it was something that was kind of missing. And Sheldon came up to me and said, I saw you were tuning utilities the other day. How about doing something and see in the messenger. And I thought about it a little bit because I am a very busy guy. Plus, with everything that I do, I was like, do you want to add that to all that you already have to do in life? And finally, I thought, yeah, why not? It's gonna be fun. And what's nice, it's actually making me learn new stuff about utility stations. So, utility stations column for the month of February will be talking about Canadian utility signals that you can get on shortwave. So I'm going through, pretty much a lot of signals, a lot of stuff that can be received on shortwave, all from Canada. There's a lot more utility stations coming out of Canada than you might imagine. Even though some of the big guns like CFH, the Canadian Forces, is silent, there's still a lot of stuff that you can still listen to. Anywhere from time signal CHU to the weather stations like Gander and Trenton Military, and there's tons of little independent and small transmitters scattered throughout Canada with maritime weather broadcasts. So we're gonna take a look at that in the next messenger. So part of it is already done. I've done about 50% of the column. The other 50% I'll be doing in the next few days. So we'll be looking at that for sure. Sorry if I do cough a little bit. I have a little cold, and so it makes me kind of cough a little bit. So if I do, I'll take a sip of beer. Sheldon Harvey, nice to have you on board from Greenfield Park. Yeah, it's pretty cold actually out there. It's gonna be really cold. Tonight, I believe in Montreal, it's supposed to be minus 18, which is 0 Fahrenheit. Right now, it's something like minus 10, minus 12 Celsius, something like that. I can't check this one because it's in the sunlight right now, but it's even in the sunlight, it says minus 9. So it's probably like minus 13, minus 14 right now. W5KJL, nice to have you here. Happy New Year. Thanks. And yes, and absolutely, I will be doing that for sure this year. So that's one of my goals of getting my ham license. I do have the transceiver, so all I need is the license now. So I'll be checking that out. And really nice to have everybody here. And yeah, why not? The URL to point to CKUT for the International Radio Report, which is really nice. Now I've joined the International Radio Report every week. So instead of being there every 2 weeks, I decided, let's go there every Sunday morning. Why not? I actually like it because it does two things for me. I used to have, before I had tons of things to do on Sundays. But with all the changes that happened in my life in 2018, I stumbled upon Sundays that I don't have much to do, actually. So what I like about the fact that I go to CKUT, because it's downtown, I go there for the show. I enjoy doing it. It's fun to be there with Sheldon and David. And after, I always meet up with a bunch of friends. We go brunching in a restaurant, and then we, just spend the day downtown, and then we end our Sundays usually with a few beers at a bar. So it's been kind of a different Sunday feel, and I kind of like it. And I kind of like the fact that it's kind of a nice start to what the week is all about, and it's like having something new. You go there and it's like, okay, tomorrow's Monday, but it's kind of a good way to end the weekend and have fun. So I'm there every Sundays now. So I hope I'm not going to lose my voice through the show today. I see that it's a little fragile right now. So David Arden says 53 Fahrenheit near Atlanta, Georgia, and had some freezing temps overnight. Wow, pretty cool. Pretty cold. Bill Allen, long wire antenna. How should it be ran? Vertical, horizontal, and how about directional orientation? Um, Look, if you can put more than one, you can try different orientations and have more than one that you could switch from. For its horizontal is the best, the highest you can put it from the ground. It could be, hung to a tree with of course, if you hang it to a tree, make sure that you can compensate. The wire can compensate if it's windy and the tree moves so that it doesn't snap. There's ways of putting like counterpoise so that you actually can have the wire adapt to the movement and all of that. And it's so there's that, and there's orientation. There's a long wire. Actually, the longer the wire, the more directional it gets. So you can just put one up and see what happens. But if you have space, you could put more than one up in different orientations and test them out. Test them one, compare them if you can. It's fun projects actually. It's part of the fun of radio. Putting up antennas and trying it out. And the best is if you can put the wire outside a little distance from your house, but um, bring it inside with a coaxial or a shielded cable. So you would put the long wire, for example, in the center connector, and you can ground the outer shield, for example, and that would isolate the noise from your home from the wire, from the signal, and keep it as far away as you can from the house and bring it inside somehow with a little coaxial. That's what I have here. I have a 75-foot sloper, but it actually connects to a coaxial cable that gets in the house, and inside the house, the coaxial cable shields somewhat this antenna from my noise from inside the home here. Sorry, guys. Simon Templar, nice to have you here. Yes, I got the email with the pictures of your QSL cards. Absolutely. We'll show that a little later. Good afternoon. Nice to have you here. Matambali says snowing here. Heavy, wet kind of snow. Wow. It's it's good to make snowmen. Jerry DX says drink lots of beer and stay warm and listen to Shortwave. Yep, that's pretty much the thing. Richard Cook, did you pick up the buzzer this week? No, I tried a couple of times, Richard, actually. I tried maybe a few times. It was very weird this week in the propagation in the evening. There's like that period of time, I would say here locally, from about 0-100 to even 2300 to 0300 UT, which is kind of the prime evening here, where signals were really, really weak from everywhere. It tends to get better after about 0300 and also a little before, but it's kind of weird. And it's very, very bizarre propagation this week. I can't wait for days to get really a little longer so that we can see a difference in the evening propagation. Vini Romano, this is what is plugged right now. My ion fed antenna. It's installed as a sloper with the 9-to-1 balun outside, and it's been up for at least a year and a half, if not 2 years. It's been there for a while. I used to have it as a long wire, but I ended up, because it was easier and also I wanted to test a different orientation, it ended up being as a sloper. So it starts from the top corner of the third floor building here and goes down to the it's at the east part. At the other end, it's approximately, I'd say it's about 12 feet from the ground at that point, roughly 10 to 12 feet. So that's what I'm using, Vinny, with the 9-to-1 Ballon. Matt, yeah, man, I saw that the Realistic DX300 and a Kenwood TS430S, pretty cool. So really, really nice. The X300, I had its little cousin, the DX302, which are pretty much the same receiver, just I believe a minor upgrade, I would guess. I never checked what's the difference between the DX300 and DX302. They both look the same, but there must be a little something that's different because of the number change, I would guess. Mark Cope, Adventist in French from Madagascar, 9515. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Mickey Delmage, nice to have you on board. And yep, Mickey is also a column editor. Very interesting, which is a QSL column. So yeah, today is going to be QSLs for sure. Sheldon says, the reaction to you being on the show every week has been great. Our listeners really appreciate your input and information, as do I. Cool. I'm happy to be there, actually. And it's a fun way to start my Sunday. You know, it's like you go to CKUT and you it just, I don't know, it starts kind of my Sunday in a cool way. Go to CKUT, do a 30-minute show. Boy, does it go fast. Every time we're there, I'm just like, it's like you sit down, the show starts, and it's like, well, it's already over. It's like, whoa, it's just crazy. So it's kind of cool, I do that, then I meet up with friends downtown, and we just have a blast all Sunday. And it's a great way to spend my Sunday, and just really find it nice. PLF Radio, will they talk about EQSLs too? Yes, absolutely. We'll talk about all the aspects. I get regularly some questions about, okay, QSLing, and who QSLs, who doesn't, and what, so we're gonna check it out. Shannon says, the reaction to World of Utilities column has already been great. Everyone is looking for future columns. I got 5 emails from CIDX readers that are just so happy to see that I'm there. So it's kind of cool, and I hope I will live up to the expectation. It's those things, when you get hyped, when people just like say, "Oh, Gilles gonna do it. It's gonna be good." And you're like, yeah, okay. I hope it's you don't expect too much. At the same time, of course, I want to talk about different things, and there's so many things, and it's making me actually listen more to utilities also. And I already have I take notes in a piece of paper of things I want to talk eventually. And I don't know, this week it was like they were coming like this. It's like, okay, I got enough ideas for material for probably the next 2 years for CIDX. So I think it's gonna be a nice adventure, and have a lot of fun doing it. Kevin J, what's the schedule for this chat? It's not showing to me. Well, we're here every Fridays at 2000 UTC. That's 3 p.m. Eastern Time in North America. And we also have a Saturday show every 2 weeks. Tomorrow is the Saturday show also. So if you guys wonder, tomorrow there's a show, 2000 UT. Matt UK, nice to have you here. Matt Ambali says, on the outside chance people don't know about this, CQT as a Sunday morning. Yeah, absolutely. The Sunday morning show called the International Radar Report. It's 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 15:30 UTC. You can stream it on CKUT.ca. There's a stream button at the top. You can also listen to the archive. If you go to CKUT.ca and click to podcasts and archives, you will see that there's a grid. On the grid, you will see that there's International Radar Report on Sunday mornings. And you can listen to it. It's posted online later in the day. I noticed last week, it was there Sunday evening. So often, like at 00100 UT on Mondays, it's already there. So you can listen to it afterwards, and you will hear Sheldon, me, and David talking about radio and all sorts of things about radio. So it's a lot of fun. David Arden says, I have a G5 RV antenna, get S5 noise, but I got the same noise level at a local park. Too many switching power supplies in existence. Yeah, it's not always really. One of the problems with parks, and that's one of the things I thought of when I went to the park that's just 5 minutes from here. One of the things on that park is the number of lights everywhere and of wires going through the air for electricity for the different things in that park. And I always thought maybe it's going to do a lot of noise and maybe it's not going to be a great place. But it turns out to be very quiet, very surprising. But it does depend where you are. There's another park that I went to, and it was absolutely impossible to listen to shortwave. And it's funny because that park had nothing, doesn't have even lights in the evening. So I thought, wow, this is going to be a great place. But no, it's full of noise. As if there's something near that's creating so much noise that it just washes out the park. So it's kind of weird sometimes, I'm going to tell you that. What else do we have? Al Catalan says, just got an idea of using the outer part of a coax cable as a long wire antenna. Yes, it does work, absolutely. You can use the outer part of a coax and use it as a wire antenna. That will work, absolutely. Absolutely. I did a little bit volts, some medium wave DXing, but the problem here is the noise level is so high on medium wave that except for the strong US stations that I hear all the time. Actually, what I did this week, I think what I did this week is tune the VHF UHF band and start tuning satellites with the SDR play. Thanks for the info. What is the QSL card? Sorry for the newbie question. There's no need to be sorry when you don't know what it is. So QSL card. Okay, I'll give you an example here. So these are old. A lot of them are old stations that are long gone. But let's check out one here. So here's one that's very nice. A pirate radio one. So we'll go through the cards here. So just to give you an idea. So here goes. A QSL card is a card. It looks like a postcard. So you see this is an example. This is from a Radio Piranha International. Was a pirate station that I heard in April 30th, 1995. So, and look at the frequencies, guys. 13950 lower sideband. So that one was on a high frequency range. And so a QSL card is there to, it's kind of a proof that you've received a station. So basically stations on shortwave, and this comes from a time when stations needed to have input from their listeners as to how good the signal is making it wherever they are. And the thing is, that meant that they needed a way for listeners to write in and say, hey, I hear your station, I hear it well or not. But there also had to be an incentive for that. I mean, you could ask listeners, hey, how well my signal goes? And some listeners will be okay and will say, yeah, it's cool. I'm going to just, write in and let them know. But some listeners require a little something to kind of push them to do it. So stations came with and it comes from the amateur radio world also, with the idea of what's a QSL card. So a QSL card, to get one, what you need to do is listen to a station and give at least 15 to 20 minutes details of what they were talking about, which is proof that you received them for real. The frequency you were listening to, the time in UTC and Universal Time you were listening to them, how good the signal was. And there's multiple ways. Some people use the SIMPO code, which is a 5-number code that goes from 1 to 5 that gives a detail of the signal level. But if you don't understand the simple code or anything, just use your own words and explain there was some interference from, some station nearby, or just explain in your own words what it sounded like, and how intelligible, how good the signal was, at least to listen to the program. And you send that to the station with, of course, all the details to how to send a letter back to you. And the station will acknowledge that and send you a QSL card. And it's at the same time, you're helping the station understand the signals, how good they are, where you live. And at the same time, well, you get this cool little card that just shows you that you've received a station. It's a cool thing to keep. So these are cards. I got hundreds of them here from all the years of my listening. I used to chase QSL cards a lot. So I don't remember how this one came through, but I remember I heard in advance that there was going to be a broadcast of a pirate station, and I'm wondering if I haven't read it in a bulletin, in some club bulletin. And usually you don't know in advance when pirate stations are on the air, but this guy had announced he was going to be on the air in advance, like a couple of months back. So you had the time to, okay, I'm going to have to listen on that date and listen to Radio Piranha, that pirate station. So it creates a very, very nice, it's like a postcard if you want, and it creates very, very nice little souvenir of stations you received. The one at the bottom here is Radio Austria. So this is Radio Austria International. So on the front side, you've got all the details. Well, the card itself, sometimes it's a picture or so on. But if you look at the back of the card here, and I'll just put my finger like this over it. If you look on the card here, you have the details of reception. And what I'm hiding is my postal address. So basically, this is a QSL card with all the details of the station when I heard it. So this one's in French, that they're confirming my reception report of 26 August 1995 at 0:30 UTC on 9655. So it tells me I was listening to Radio Australia back then at that time. So that's pretty much what a QSL is. And it's a great way to interact with stations. They enjoy it because they know where the signal, how good the signals are. And you get this cool little souvenir, basically, that you can keep. And I've got 3 big blue binders full of cards, from the earliest card that I've had in 1982 up to I believe 2018 is the first year ever I've not QSL'd at least one station. The first year ever. Every year before that, I actually QSL'd a few stations. So I got to fix that. I got to write to a few stations this year and really send maybe send some reception reports. Remember one thing: not all stations QSL. Some do not. And remember also at the same time that no stations owe you anything. I remember a guy writing to a station and being mad because didn't receive anything. And you know what? They don't owe you anything. Don't be mad, because they don't owe you anything at all. So it's a service that they give you, but don't expect that they have to do it. And don't be sad if you don't get that QSL if you're writing in, for sure. Okay. Kevin J says, yep, I think it's a reception report postcard. Pretty much, it's kind of that. So it's a nice little thing. Matt says, I heard the DX302 fixed some issues that DX300 had. Okay. F. Blassie, nice to have you here from Oakland, California. Nice YouTube shirt and a beer. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Al Catalan 3 weeks ago, I built a mag loop from coax 75 home. You know what? I came across a interesting PDF yesterday. I started looking at schematics of making a homemade loop antenna, and I came across a PDF that was made by Transworld Radio engineer in Bonaire, and it's how to make 3 different kinds of loop antennas. And one of them I have to try because it's just so cool. So the loop antennas are tuned. He makes them out of cardboard box where you will put a certain number of wire loops around it. And it's cool because he has a design where if you don't have that little tuning capacitor, he actually shows you how to make your own tuning capacitor out of cardboard, an empty envelope, and some aluminum foil. And the way that it's set up, you can slide the foil in the envelope. And so by sliding it more or less in, it actually changes the capacitor value, like a tuning capacitor. When I saw that, I said, okay, this is so cool. I got to do that one. I got to do the one where he has that thing. And I want to try different designs and try different things because it's kind of cool. And he says it's surprising how they enhance signals a lot. So I'm going to try that for sure. Sorry. IV3EPO. Nice to have you on board, my friend. What else we have? Bill Allen also have a Russian mini whip active antenna, better than a long wire setup. You know what? I've seen many setups with that mini whip active antenna that are amazing. For example, the U20 receiver online uses a mini whip antenna. It's just so amazingly sensitive and good. It's I kind of wonder. I can tell you that. Andy RC, nice to have you on board. And how did the repair go on the 450? I haven't touched the 450 much. It's still kind of weird. I need to check it out, but I haven't touched anything. Calium 2, nice to have you here. Renegade BT, can I use regular cable TV coax or a lead inline? The regular cable TV coax doesn't have the same impedance. It's 75 ohm instead of what radios usually want 50. Now for shortwave, it might not be that much of a loss if it's not very long, but if that coax is very long, you're better with a 50 ohm coax rather than a cable TV coax because there's a mismatch in the impedance there. Dana F, nice to have you on board, Dana from Providence, Rhode Island. Thanks for sending the cold. I got nothing to do with it. Kevin J says, no, you do this shortwave show. Are there live ham radio chat shows also that are shortwave friendly? I'm sure there are some live stuff from for the ham radio operator. I'm pretty sure there must be something. But you know, here it's everybody's welcome. It's here is the shortwave show that's ham friendly, and there's a lot of amateur stations here. So you know, check it out, and you know you can share pretty much a lot of stuff about amateur radio. So let's go down. Sheldon RV says, yeah, utility stations now use more of the HF spectrum than all other types of station on shortwave. So it's very timely to have a column. Absolutely. and there's a lot of stuff to listen to out there. Official Shortwave channel where radio comes alive. I like that, Simon Templar. Mick, nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty cool. Double screening, football, aka soccer, on TV, and Jill on laptop. Cool. Cool. What else do we have? Matambali says you might try changing the shape of the pickup loop so it's more of an oval than a circle and more coupling will occur. I'm gonna try different things for sure, but yesterday gave me so many ideas of things to do and fun kind of weekend projects. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna use. I was looking at the PDF and I was like, oh, okay, I already have a box in mind where I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna go get myself some couple of 100 feet of wires and have fun playing around with that for sure. So it's really, really nice. Alexei, nice to have you on board from Russia. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, Sheldon Harvey says QSL comes from the Q codes. QSL stands for Can You Acknowledge Receipt, or I Am Acknowledging Receipt. Stations therefore issue QSL cards to confirm receipt or reception. And yes, it is it's one of those standard Q codes that you need to learn. Eduardo Pinto Cubiras, nice to have you on board. Saludos desde Canada. And nice to have you here from Lima, Peru. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Lima, Peru. I like that. People from all over the world. It's just so much fun. So much fun. What else do we have? Luis Sarevalo, nice to have you here. Yes, for most stations, you can send a email for a QSL card. But don't forget to give back your postal address, because a lot of them still send paper QSLs through postal mail or snail mail, so you'll get it in your mailbox. One of the things is that there's also something called eQSL today. So because paper QSLs cost a lot of money, a lot of stations and a lot of amateur radio operators have changed from paper QSLs through the mail to eQSLs, which is still, often a nice picture or, a nice card, but it's just that it's they're sending you that by an image by email, so like a JPEG. I have a number of eQSLs over time. What I do personally is I print them out on paper here and keep them in my books with the other QSLs. I still keep the image of that eQSL though. Another thing I've done with my collection is I've scanned almost every QSL card I have, so that if for some reason something should happen, a fire for example, if I lose my collection, my paper card collection, well, in the cloud on my OneDrive, I've got the images of the QSLs. At least I haven't lost everything, It's not the same, but at least I still will have them as souvenirs, Oh, man. Arthur's Alley Crafter's Kitchen, nice to have you here, my friend. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, I will, Jerry. I will make a video on that. It is just so cool. When I saw the guy make a capacitor out of a cardboard, an envelope, and some aluminum foil, I was like, oh, this is so cool. That's the kind of thing I like. Creating your own capacitor rather than getting one from some radio or something. So, what else do we have? Mike Lee, nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty cool. Arthur's Alley Crafter Kitchen says used 100-foot coax as antennas, great on receivers with multiple impedance inputs. But I'm a long wire guy all the way. So it's kind of cool. Miguel Elmash says Radio Nacional Amazonia on 11780. Let's try it out here. 11780. It's wow. It's not very strong right now here. Are they both on? Because they're not yet on 6180. In the evening, they've been coming in well on 6180, but they're not super strong right now here. It's there, definitely, but it's not as strong as I'm used to having. Unpopcom from Central Pennsylvania, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Richard's got 11780, very weak. Then he used 24 gauge wire on it. The size of it wasn't all that important. What he was mostly stressing upon is to have at least a thick enough wire that it doesn't break, and the fact that not too thick, because he wants it to be flexible enough to easily go and make the loop. It's not all that important, but where he wanted to have importance was on the length of the wire to use to make the loop, and the size of the loop itself, depending on the frequency range you want to listen to. So I'm going to play around with that, and I'll probably construct 5 or 6 different ones of different sizes and test that out for sure. And yes, as Sheldon says, if you want to have a sample copy of the Canadian International DX Club monthly bulletin, The Messenger, you can send an email to cidxclub@yahoo.com. And yes, my introduction to utility, or to who I am in the January issue. Next one will be Canadian utility stations, and there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. So really nice. My voice is going out. Mark Cope, Radio Nacional Amazonia, S8 on 11780. W5KJL. I was thinking of you actually before the show, because I was preparing things and I saw the parrot flag there, and it says, well, somebody's going to tell me my parrot flag is still not there. Yes, I will put it up. I will put it up. Vianney says 4 signals are really strong this afternoon. Luis Arevalo says, when is Scanner show trouble programming trunk frequencies? The show will be in 2 weeks. So it's going to be January the 11, 18, 25, 26. Saturday, January 26th is the VHF UHF. Trunk frequencies are a little tricky to program because depending on the trunk system that you're using, it's not always super easy. Voice of America from Moping Hill, really strong here in Denver. There's a very strong signal here on 11850. I saw it earlier. There's a good one here. There's one on 11860, which is Radio Marti, I believe. So I got it here, 11850. I need to do something about the harsh audio of this one. It's in French. There's a lot of, I'm going to just remove something here. There's a lot of the interference that comes from a little something here. But I will unplug. Here we go. So it should be better already. Here we go. Remove some of the noise there. The Samsung wireless charger creates a lot of noise in the radio. So what else do we have? Oh, really, Bobby? They have added shortwave radiogram will be on WINB also. Cool. And by the way, those of you that um, those that want to listen to the International Radio Report that is on CKUT, it is actually broadcast through WINB on Saturday evenings, North America, at 8:30 Eastern. That's 0130 UTC Sundays, and it's on 9265 kilohertz. And you will be listening to the International Radio Report that Sheldon, me, and David are part on Sunday mornings. It's rebroadcast by WINB, 9265 kilohertz. Saturdays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That's UT Sunday, 0130 UTC, 9265 kilohertz. Last week, I heard it from a an online SDR because I couldn't hear it at 9265 at home. So you might want to try that. Andrew Jarrett, nice to have you on board from Manchester, UK. Jerry Weiscall, nice to have you here. Great show. Out of all your shortwave radios, which one gets the most use? AC4BT. The most, it often depends on the period of time and what I feel like doing. But lately, what's being used the most is the SDR Play RSP1A. And I gotta say that the second in line that I listen a lot is the Yaesu FT450 transceiver here that I'm getting acquainted with because it's a very complex transceiver. And I would say that the ICOM 8500 has been rather quiet lately, and that's why I'm thinking of putting it online for you guys to tune in. I was thinking, well, if I'm not to use it, maybe I should put it online and you guys can tune around via global tuners. So, pretty amazing. But, it depends on time of year and what I want to do, and I use a lot of portable radios also. So it depends on what I want to do and what will be my day of radio listening. And of course, one of the things I like to do on the radios I have here is to kind of do a rotation. So I don't want to use always the same radio and, leave the other ones doing nothing. So what I'll do is tune around with other radios that I'll use for a certain time, and then I will, tune another one for a while, and like that over a year, I'll go through all the radios, or pretty much all the radios, or at least the good ones, for sure, So, what else do we have? So, what else do we have? Yes, the ferrets that you could put on LAN cables will often help out in reducing noise. Absolutely. If you use ferret cores and do a few loops of the wire in there, you might lower the noise. Absolutely. Jerry, wow, big RF noise difference on your waterfall. Yes, absolutely. There's a very, very big difference. Brian Penny, yes, I was. Bobby Burgess, Armenia whips are better. Well, they're actually better is not necessarily better, but they are quite amazing for what they do, and they're not expensive. Fastload has one, and he's actually very surprised at the performance of that little thing, and it's not expensive. You can have a mini whip on eBay for I don't know, it's very cheap. And they are surprising. They are very, very surprising. But, you got to put everything relative to what other things do. An example, I've seen somebody on the forum that wasn't happy because he purchased a Magloop, the Wellbrook. And is the guy doesn't understand one simple fact. If you put a Wellbrook and you put a 100 feet long wire in an environment where there's no noise, you will, yes, receive signals on the 100 feet long wire much stronger than the Wellbrook will give you. What that person doesn't understand is that the Wellbrook, in its design, removes, and you can, if you turn it, null some of the noise. So what it does is now it changes your signal to noise ratio. He was complaining, well, oh, I'm getting better, but my S9 signal of Radio Romania is now S5. Yeah, it doesn't matter. As long as the noise is so much lower that it actually becomes clear to listen to. You're better with an S5 with a low noise than an S9 in full noise. And there's sometimes people don't understand some of these things. And so it's not, it doesn't, the antennas all have a different way of dealing with the signal to noise ratio, and they all have a way of dealing depending on what you can set up. If I would live out in a nowhere zone, in the middle of the forest, I would put 300 feet of wires and I'd be really happy and DX the world with that easily, because in the middle of the forest there's just no noise at all. Here I put 300 feet of wire, I'll have, a lot of noise. It's full of noise around me. Here, a signal to noise ratio would probably be helped by a Wellbrook. So, we'll check that eventually, for sure. So what else do we have? So Brian Penny talking about the Klingenfuss. George Klingenfuss has been known for a long time. He's got a guide, the 2019 Shortwave Frequency Guide, and the 2019-2020 Guide to Utility Stations. It's a very, very complete guide of utility signals everywhere, absolutely. And that guy, I've purchased that guide a few times over the years. I think the last one, the last one I have here is on CD, and I think it's from like 2012 or something. I didn't buy it. That's one of those guides that I like, but honestly, you don't necessarily need to buy it every year, because unlike other parts of the spectrum, utility stations tend to change less than others. But still, it's a great guide to get if you want. It's a little expensive, but then again, there's so much work and so many things in that guide. It's just crazy. But it is a guide. Maybe I should, since I'm the, I will be writing a utility column. Maybe it'd be nice to get myself the 2019-2020 guide to utility stations. And I know there's a lot of information in there. And it probably would help me out in identifying a lot of the stuff also that I receive on the shortwave bands. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you here. W8SWL in northern Michigan. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Ice covered roads. Time to move to Florida. Here it's really cold and quite icy too, I gotta say. iMapper from Moscow, nice to have you on board. James Hauser, nice to have you here. Can you please pass the pretzel bites? No pretzel bites today, but if you want, I've got some cheddar type harvest chips that you can that I ate half of the bag just before the show, which is not a good thing. No, I'm not selling the 8500. I am not selling Vaults any radios anymore, because I want to keep every radio that I've got, and they're all gonna stay here. Every radio I've sold, I regret selling them, and I don't want to sell the 8500. It's a nice radio, and it has a lot of uses that can be done. It clearly, I like the RSP1A. and tune the 8500 to VHF UHF, and it clearly is better than the RSP1A. You could see that it actually has a lot more to offer in terms of reception than the RSP1A. But the RSP1A is surprising for the price. And I have to admit, I was listening to amateur satellites on VHF this week, and it was like, wow, it is clearly amazing. But no, they're all here to stay for sure. Okay, what else do we have? Oh, K index has fallen to 1. Pretty good. Pretty good. What else do we have? Yeah, I don't know on a coax because you don't want to attenuate any signals for sure. So hey Sheldon, cool request from Jerry, Kevin, and Matt for CIDX sample bulletin, and it's not expensive. I mean, $10 for a year and $25 for 3 years. There's really, it's not expensive, and it's a very nice little bulletin that you get every month in your email. It's kind of nice. And now that I'm in it, why not? And I don't mean anything by that. I don't mean it's going to be more interesting. It already was really interesting. PLF Radio has 5875 BBC from Warfordton. Good signal. Simon Templar, miss monitoring times. Well, if you miss monitoring times, what I can say is get yourself a subscription to Spectrum Monitor. It's the same thing. Actually, the feel of the Spectrum Monitor is clearly the same feel as monitoring times. And I've subscribed 3 years ago, and since then 3 or 4 years ago, and I've always renewed my subscription. And now is the time because you're getting the way that the Spectrum Monitor magazine works. When you subscribe, you get the year of magazines. So now January, you're going to start in January, because if you start, or if you subscribe to the Spectrum Monitor in July, well, you're getting all the magazines starting from January. You're not getting a 1 year subscription from July to July the next year, because you find it too complicated to manage that. So everybody's subscription always starts in January. <clears throat> 11235 upper sideband. We're going to monitor that for sure and see if anything pops up on 11235. It's surprising when you start tuning around and outside of the regular spectrum of frequencies what you're going to hear. It's really, really surprising sometimes. Was it in English, Vianney? Richard Cook's got Pyongyang 6400. Yeah, winter is shortwave weather. Absolutely. James Hauser, sun chips, yes. No, I'm not going to sell the icon at all. I'm keeping that radio for sure. Andy Tobin, nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty cool. Pretty much, Jerry. Pretty much. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. Hey, Dr. Sisop, nice to have you here. Happy New Year, my friend. Pretty cool. What's the best portable communications receiver you can get? Don't care about the price. And you're talking portable. I don't know what portable. Are you looking into a communications receiver that's for something like, medium wave, long wave, medium wave, short wave only? Or you're looking for a wide-band receiver? A little more details. Do you want to have something that gets up to the gigahertz range? What's a good price for an Nikon R70? Saw one here locally on Craigslist for $350. I was thinking that might be a little high. I would not pay $350 for an R70. I mean, I saw one at a Hamfest last year, and the guy was asking $175, which is half of $350, and it was in good working order. I would have a hard time buying Nikon R70 above, I don't know, $200. PLF Radio, KBS 3955 from Wolverton, UK, great signal. Yeah, the FCC in the US has been shut down, but I haven't seen any increase in pirates on the shortwave bands. It doesn't matter much because the FCC is shut down or not. I would say that if there is a FCC, uptick of the pirate uptick, it would be the local pirates on the FM band, for example. But on the shortwave bands, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Fanny Zanakis, sweet North Korea, nice to listen to. On a wideband communications receiver, I've always thought of, because I've never seen a portable wideband receiver that kicks ass everywhere. I would say that for the most part, what I've heard or what I've seen is you better get yourself a really good portable receiver for the long wave, medium wave, and short wave bands, and and something that's really, really good for the VHF UHF range separately. You will usually have a better overall reception quality. Most wideband portables are okay on shortwave, but they're not amazing. But you can try something, I don't know, like the I honestly I don't know exactly. I haven't. I know that a lot of people like the ICOM ICR30. I've got the ICOM ICR20. I would guess the R30 hopefully is a little better than the R20 in reception characteristics, but a portable wideband that's good everywhere is difficult. You're better off with two separate radios. That's my honest opinion of that. But I've seen a lot of good people talking really, really good about the ICOM ICR30 that also enables you to have some digital modes that are decodable, like D-Star and DMR and stuff like that. Maybe you could think or turn one of the things that could be nice is turn a RSP1A into a portable version with a little, portable tablet PC or something. And that would be a portable setup that you could use anywhere. And I gotta say, the RSP1A was pretty darn amazing in its quality of reception everywhere. Sorry. Matt says the enforcers of FCC are considered essential, I believe. I was just reading about that in the latest ARRL letter. But if you want your call sign or testing for your license, you have to wait. Yeah. No problem, Callum. David in Barcelona, nice to have you on board. And he says this week he's got an AirSpy HF Plus. He won 2 weeks ago. What a nice little thing. Cool. And you set it up in a Windows Vista. What are you doing with a Windows Vista Tower PC? What else do we have? Yeah, that's almost what I'm thinking of. Also, that actually, that's what I was thinking a little bit before before I saw your post. Some SDR with a portable Windows tablet would make a great communications receiver, actually. And not only that, because you have that tablet will show you all the, the waterfall and the spectrum. You have a really a great portable device with that suddenly. And you know what? A decent Windows tablet with a good SDR, like the RSP 1A, or even better, the RSP Duo, won't cost you really much more than buying an ICOM ICR30, actually, in the price when you think about it. Sorry, guys, if I cough a lot, but I have this little flu, not flu, but it's kind of a cold, and I have a little bit of a sore throat. iMapper, only receiver he ever sold in his life was a Sanjin ATS 909W, still missing it. Yeah, I miss the radios that I sold. So, Redelva 65, hey there, nice to have you on board. Bali, Radio Havana, Cuba, demonstrating its usual bodacious signal on 15370 S9 plus 10. Pretty cool. David Snyder, nice to have you on board. Says I sold my Drake R8 and my original Sony 2010. Bought a used Sony 2010, but enjoying using my new SDR player SP1A. And by the way, David, I saw your email this afternoon, and yeah, I will check that, because at the same time, it'd be nice maybe to, I've been talking about it for a while. It'd be nice to add my receivers to the Global Tuners receivers. So I'm going to check that out for sure. So, but the SDR with SDR Uno and RSP1A is an amazing receiver. So, what do we have? M12 on 5764. Is it still there? Let me just try it. Out of curiosity. Not receiving anything. I've been monitoring so much of the 5732 frequency and upper sideband for some military, U.S. military. Matt says, speaking of pirates, I've been copying Pirate Beacon Windy lately at about 4102.855 kilohertz. There are allegedly a lot of them in the desert of Southern California. That's the only one I've copied. Huh, kind of interesting. RadioNet R, nice to have you on board. Just got himself a new shortwave radio. Well, new to him anyway. The Satellite Grundig Satellite 800 Millennium. And says he finds it to be an excellent, capable receiver. It looks great. And you know what? I still remember that when I would do a lot of tech jobs, there was one client that I would go to, and he had a Satellite Grundig Satellite 800, and I believe it's the Millennium. And all he would do is listen to the local CBC station on FM 95.1. And I remember I looked at the radio and I said, "Oh, you listen to Shortwave in the world?" He says, "No, I just listened to the CBC on 95.1. And I was thinking, you could listen to the CBC on a $30 radio. It would almost do the same thing. And the guy bought that radio that he paid a fortune just to listen to one station. And I kept thinking to myself, it's such a shame that, he just, that radio would do only one thing in its life and listen to an FM station on the same frequency all the time. What a shame. What a waste of a amazing radio. Crazy. I remember telling him once, I can buy the radio for a certain amount of money. He said, no, I like it. Okay. It's just sad that it doesn't do anything else. David says, it's a tower I got in storage several years. It's not used anymore for purpose. So, yeah. Maybe you can at least just upgrade it to Windows 7. At least it'd be in a still supported OS. But honestly, if it works and it does what you want and that's all, it's okay. Mitch Play, nice to have you on board from sunny Arizona. Thanks for all the great info. Thank you very much. Yes, I will, David Snyder. I'll let you know probably during this week and explain to you a little bit how it works. PLF Radio has Radio Vatican Radio on 7365, very strong. Take care, David. Always nice to have you on board. Dr. Sisop, really? They are going to if the shutdown continues past the end of the month, they would shut down WWV, VH, and VB. Really? We're in a situation that's a little different right now because there's been shutdowns in the past, but now this is beginning to be one of the longest ones. So there's going to be some effects that we never seen before if it continues for a while. That's for sure. Scott Pastor, hey there, says 41 meters is alive in Europe. F. Blassie says lost is Panasonic RF 4800 on move, but still has a 2800. The 4800 was his first shortwave. Giles Tombra Newhouse, nice to have you on board, my friend. Always nice to have you here. Kind of interesting. We're gonna see. We'll see what happens with time. We'll see what happens. Hey, Piet Mondrian student, nice to have you on board, my friend. Donald Hosmer says plans to take the Com Radio CR18 and a AOR LA400 loop on the ship. Cool. Radio Nut, have you been listening to the trash on 7200? Absolutely terrible language, drunk talking. Yeah, it's like 14313. It's kind of a disgrace to the hobby. These are absolute trash frequencies, absolutely. William Helms in Florida, nice to have you here. I don't know about the WWV shutdown and stuff. I can tell you that. Cuban Lady on 11635. 11635. Oops. 11635. I have a carrier. Hey Keegan, nice to have you on board. It says 5000 WWV. It's 3 out of 5. Raptor David says last holiday I bought a Logitech combination touchpad and keyboard for the PC. Also gave it a small 10-inch display which I placed beside my radios. Oh, cool. I'm in love with my little Logitech wireless keyboard. Been using it a lot. I love this. Having no need for a mouse because you got a touchpad here, so I can control the computer there or any other computer I want. I just take the dongle, put in whatever PC I want to control. Really, really nice. RadioNet, what's that radio over your right shoulder there? Is that a Radio Shack DX60? This is a CB60, and this one is a SW60. I know there is a DX60 also, which has multiple shortwave bands. These two are the ancestors. They're kind of multiband radios, the ancestors of the modern scanner, if you want, with AM, FM, UHF, and VHF range. And the difference between the two is that the CB60 has 40 channels of CB here, where the SW60 has shortwave from 6 to 18 megahertz. I had the CB60 at home when I was about 14. I used it at the time to listen to local police and airplanes and stuff like that. I had a lot of fun with those when I was younger. When I was a teenager, long time ago. Matt says, for all the hype I've heard about 14313, I've never heard any of the band amps there, but 7200 for sure. You know what? I think the gang, the 7200 is the gang from 14313, but because of the propagation conditions, they moved down to that 7200 frequency. I wouldn't be surprised they're exactly the same gang. You know what? 14313, I haven't heard trash there in a little while. So I'm wondering if they've not just moved down to 7200, honestly. So, I mean, it's nuts. What else do we have? Dr. Sisab has been getting signal on 25310 on FM. Not sure what it is. It sounds like broadcast. On the 25 megahertz range and also on the 26 megahertz range, there are studio to transmitter links. So you might have a station, for example, on 25910. I often hear, when propagation is good, I hear the FM to studio transmitter link of the station in Texas, 25910 FM. And so it's one of the local FM stations somewhere that's broadcasting. I don't know which one could be on 25310, but there's a lot of studio to transmitter links. I remember years ago, I used to listen to the WFLA in Tampa Bay, Florida, and they had the Rush Limbaugh show, and that's many years ago. And that was a time when propagation, when the solar activity was very high. So it was not this solar cycle; it was the previous solar cycle. And I would get WFLA transmitter link on 25870 every single day in the wintertime. And when the sun would set, I would have it for about half an hour to an hour, and then would fade out and come back the next day. So yeah, some of them are. What happens is that some of them are for specific use. So, for example, you might have an open carrier, and they use it only for specific things like traffic reports, weather reports, when somebody's outside the studio. Fanny Xanakis says, much like your CB video. Yeah, yesterday. Well, I was tuning in because they had the snow removal crews here. And when they do remove the snow, I always kind of enjoy going to the CB band because so we have the public works trucks from the city of Montreal, but when the snow plow, when the snowblower is removing the snow, they need trucks to fill up with the snow, and the trucks will go dump that snow somewhere else. And what's going to happen is those private trucks, they all have a CB in them. So they're all talking to each other on the CB band. So when there's snow removal, I always go to the CB bands because it's like colorful, it's a colorful language, let's say. A bunch of guys, on trucks, come on. You can't have that much of serious conversations there. And I kind of like it because, when I see that they're about to remove the snow here, I like to listen to them because they're always giving the position of the snow blower. Because the trucks, when they come back, they all want to know where the snow blower is so that they can, get in line and wait for their turn to get filled up with snow again. So they're always giving their position. So it's like, oh, they're coming. They're getting closer, and of course the signals are getting stronger also. And so I thought, yeah, let's do a little video of... and you guys could see there was a lot of activity yesterday because there was a snow removal all around. I actually noted yesterday at least I could receive at least 6 or 7 different channels of snow removal trucks of different areas of town all around here that would actually communicate with each other. So it's one of the fun listenings of the winter. And funny story that I have with that. When I used to do tech jobs, a client of mine had a wireless mouse, and it was a Logitech wireless mouse. And one day she calls me up and she says, "Oh, by the way, my mouse works all the time." And she says, "Yesterday evening, my mouse would stop and start working again all the time. And I was wondering if it was my computer or something. I rebooted and it didn't change anything. And today it's fine." And it was winter. And I had owned the same mouse years before. And that mouse used one of the frequencies for radio controlled trucks and cars. You know, there's like 6 radio control frequencies inside the CB range. And I remember mine was on, I think it was like 27.145 megahertz. And when I would move it, I could hear the bursts of data on my radio. The problem is the receiver. So there's this little dongle, and the receiver of the mouse was probably kind of wideband. So I looked at her and I said, "Did you see snow removal crews last night on your street?" And she said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well," I said, "you're gonna find it funny, but I own that same mouse, and it's on frequencies, CB radio frequencies. And yesterday, when they were removing the snow on your street, they were so close that when they were talking, it interfered with your mouse and it stopped working." And I had done the same here because I had done a joke with a friend of mine. He was using my computer and he had the mouse, and I was keying my walkie-talkie that I have here, 40 channel walkie-talkie I got here. I was keying, and the mouse would stop working. And I was joking around. Says, "No, you're the one. You're not using it right. That's now how you hold the mouse. That's why it doesn't work." And I was kind of playing a joke on him. And every time he would start using it, I would, key up my walkie-talkie, and the mouse pointer would just freeze. So it's sometimes funny things, but you know what? That knowledge, I would never have known that. I mean, it's not something that a regular tech guy knows. It's something that a tech guy that loves radio knows, because the first thing I thought when I got my first wireless mouse was, "Oh, on what frequency is that transmitting on?" The first thing I wanted to know is, what's the frequency? But what frequency they're using for this thing, And, but, funny story. And I had the same thing with my brother. My brother had told me once, "Oh, I've got this mouse, and it stopped working. For the past few days, it had a lot of problems." And I told him, "What mouse? What's the brand and what's the model?" And and I said, "Oh, did you see snow removal crews in the past couple of days?" And he said, "Yeah." "So that's your problem. Now it's okay because they're not there anymore. There's nobody to key up and interfere with it." And I had told him, "Get rid of that junk and get yourself a more modern mouse that uses 2.4 gigahertz or something." It's just crazy. What else do we have? Oh, so I'm hearing the Cuban numbers, by the way, right now. Vianney, get yourself on 6607 and put yourself in CW mode, Vianney. 6607. That is the maritime station out of Israel 4XZ. I'm hearing it right now. You just type these VVV from 4XZ. That's what it's sending right now. Triple V, and then it's from 4XZ. It's from Israel. It's 6607. That's what you're hearing, Vianney. You're probably on upper sideband on 6604. So when you're on, I hear it sometimes. I listen to the Gander Weather 6604. Then I put myself in upper sideband for that, and I hear 6607 Morse code at the same time on the frequency. So that's 4XZ from Maritime Station from Israel. That is apparently sometimes sending coded messages for spies that I've read. And so when they start sending a lot of Morse code groups, they usually do 5-letter groups. Apparently it's kind of a number station. So it's kind of a maritime station that turns into a number station somewhat in Morse code. Hint. I've read that somewhere. Dr. Sisop says CB here. Many idiots run now 10 kilowatt amps. Yeah, a lot of them do that. And when the skip goes, it's just amazing. So I emptied my first beer after an hour and a half. It's not bad. Which was the Loch Ness Monster beer. So now let's get beer number 2, which is this one. Yep. And now moving to a Dead Valley. And what is called the Adventurer's Box. So this is Dead Valley. It's 8%. And let's try that out. It's not as dark as the other one. And here we go. Look at that. Nice little beer. Nice little colored beer. Strong beer on Lee's triple hop. This is a triple hop ale. So we're going to be like the Death Valley here. Cheers, everybody. Oh wow, it smells weird. It has this very bizarre smell to it, but it's actually very good. It doesn't taste what it smells, because if it did, I would not like it. You just gotta, pinch your nose before you drink it. Cheers, everyone. So, let's go back here. Radio Nut says, yeah, that's how I got started with my shortwave listening. Was with both of those units, actually. Cool. You have all 3 of them now. Oh, nice. I'd like to have the DX60 to complete the set. They all look alike. It's pretty nice. Piet Mundrin student, is it possible that some amateurs use fake call signs? I tried looking up a few. I copied, but they don't exist in the database. It does happen sometime. I've seen one case this week where somebody, a guy that I know in Northern Ireland, had a contact with a station, and he said, you know what? I think the station I had a contact with doesn't exist. It's not logged, and it's not anywhere in any lists. And also, you got to be careful. I've seen a few cases where people are operating with a call sign, a known call sign, and they are legal, but it's a special call sign for an event, and sometimes they don't show up in any logs or anywhere when you search for them. So that sometimes happens also. Dr. Sissa, my old Galaxy 88 exports goes to 25 megahertz. hear people talking on it here sometimes. Oh man. Oh yeah, it's okay. And if it works, David, that's all that's important. Take care, Radio Nut R. Always nice to have you here. F4IDL, good evening. Nice to have you here. Bonjour. Pretty cool. Hey, Stefan. Nice to have you on board. Y07NSP. Pretty cool to have you here. Well, this one is the, what do you say? It's a K400 Plus? This is the K400R. So it's probably very close. The same vicinity of whatever. And wondering why my little fan is working hard right now. Okay, what else do we have? Madame Bali's got nice carrier on 11635. Pretty cool. Yes, there's a show tomorrow, PLF Radio. Absolutely. Absolutely. Lou Rubens, nice to have you here. KJ3LR in West Central Florida. Matt has Radio Romania 7310. Let's check it out here, 7310. To a lesser extent in his books, but you can find it in his correspondence or the articles published in various magazines. The new information that appeared about Berger is quite vast, and it gives us 11637. Oops, 37. So I've got the Cuban on 11635 with digital mode and Cuban numbers. You're probably hearing HM01. That's what I think also. So what else do we have? Bottoms up. I'm Apple Rum and Coca-Cola. Cool. Root beer for Keegan. Nice. Scott Pastors 4XZ599 into England. Coffee for Matam Bali. Pretty cool. Keegan has or Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Sprite, or Dr. Pepper, fruit juice, or milk. Hey, Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you here. Shandy here with 0% alcohol. Cool. Take care, PLF Radio. À demain. Toujours un plaisir. Sheldon Harvey. So, Jill, very nice to have 5 people from today's show ask for sample copies of Messenger. Thanks for the publicity. You know, I'm happy. Very happy to promote the CIDX, honestly. And yeah, it would be nice. Come on, guys. It's not expensive. Why not become members of the CIDX club and get that bulletin every month? It's nice. It's nice little nice little bulletin you'll get in your email. Fun read. It's an interesting little publication from the Messenger. So why not join in? Hey, Juan Amigo. ¿Cómo está mi amigo? Desde Barcelona, España. Chuck P. Davis says strange sounds on 9255 in Minneapolis. 9255. 9255. I don't hear anything on 9255. I do get WINB on 9265. It really seemed to be working, so. So this week, just because of, just world events and. What's that show on 9265? I rarely hear WINB so strong.
That comes into our thoughts this week I've been thinking over and over, great peace have they who love thy law, and nothing shall offend them.
That's some religious stuff. If only there would be a airing of, the International Radio Report now on WINB. It would be amazing reception. Yeah, religious station. WINB has pretty much a lot of religious stuff. So it's probably, a lot of religious things in there. Hey, let's slowly go through some QSL cards. We're here to do that. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the QSLs I've got. For those that want to see my collection a little bit. So, okay, at the beginning of the show, for those that haven't seen, a pirate station from 95, Radio Austria here. These are nice. Radio Denmark. Yes, there was a time when Radio Denmark existed. And they were always in Danish. Except they had this little period where they had a little bit of English. But most of the time, they were Danish. Look at this one, Iceland. Riki Sudvarpid or something like that it was called. Nice QSL from Iceland. And here is the back. So this is with an old address, but I still am going to kind of put a little something over it. Here. So here's the details of this Riki Sudvarpid station. Kind of nice. For reception in 30th of April 1995. I guess 30th of April was a day that I QSL'd. I wanted to QSL a lot of stations. It was one of those shortwave days. So kind of nice to see these. These are all off the air, except the pirate. I don't know if the guy that made Radio Piranha still does pirate stations. I haven't heard that in a long time. Man. A QSL letter. Sometimes it happens. Here's Radio Australia. They used to have QSL cards, but that was one of the last times I had actually sent them a reception report. And they were saying, please confirm broadcast. And it says, one final point, Radio Australia is only able to acknowledge one QSL per broadcast schedule period. And that's in 1992. Oh, you guys remember the idiot that was on that Shinrikyo sect in Japan that put the sarin gas attack? Yes, he had a shortwave station. The Shinrikyo station. And they were on the air. You know what? When I listened to Supreme Master TV on WRMI, I have this eerie, weird feeling of that guy. Because I remember the shows of that guy were kind of peace, love, animals, and let's all just love each other. Yet he did, do a sarin gas attack in the Tokyo subway. So when I hear Supreme Master TV, I get a little bit freaked out, I gotta say. Voice of Free China. Do you guys know who Voice of Free China is today on Shortwave? Voice of Free China is what is Radio Taiwan International today. Because that time, they were called Voice of Free China. Today, they're called Radio Taiwan International. Just incredible. This is crazy. Well, these are nice QSL cards. Joe Sombra Nuance, 31 meter propagation opened. Most all of the radios I receive are religious or Chinese. Mickey says Sheldon can pronounce the Icelandic station perfectly. Riki Sudvarpid? Maybe Sheldon has the little something missing for. But it was one of those stations. You look at the listing and you're like, what is that? Ricky Sud Varpid? What's that exactly? It's kind of weird. David Audin's got a full data QSL letter from Radio RSA. Yeah, Radio RSA is kind of gone. It's not totally gone because Radio Channel Africa is what Radio RSA used to be. But what happened is Radio RSA changed to Channel Africa, and Channel Africa became a focus on Africa only, where Radio RSA was the international service. In times where it was kind of, there was that song, Ain't Gonna Play Sun City, because of the all what was happening in South Africa was really crazy. Hey, the report of the week. Nice to have you here. And always nice to listen to your broadcast, by the way. Hey, you guys. You got to listen to the report of the week via WRMI. Always a nice, cool, listen of a relaxed show with good music. Nice to have you here. And it is creepy. I have creepy vibes also of Supreme Master TV. The name first. I mean, come on. A name that's Supreme Master TV, already it's kind of weird. I mean, I have very weird vibes from it. Jerry. I hate too many wontons. Sheldon Harvey says that guy on the Shinriko card was executed in Japan along with his henchmen. Yeah, wasn't it in 2018? I think that happened last year, 2018. If I'm not mistaken. It's not that long ago, absolutely. I remember seeing something somewhere about that news. For sure. Arnold Ali Crafter says, found my Voice of Turkey pennant last night. I'm going to have to produce some videos. Absolutely, absolutely. Natambali's getting 6,400 Pyongyang. Wow. Vault says, just Google 2017 post on the forum Radio Piranha International, which broadcasts on weekends from 2200 UTC until the morning of the following day on 6930. Oh, so it's not that long ago. Thanks for the quick lookout, Vault. Matt says, can't wait for WBCQ to watch the world in its 500 kilowatt signal of flat Earth religion. Yeah, and actually yesterday I came across have you guys seen? I actually, Sheldon had told me, and yesterday I actually stumbled across a bunch of guys and anyways, flat earthers, believers that are going on a cruise to see the edge of the world. So they were leaving, I think it was yesterday or today, in a giant cruise ship to go to the edge of the world. Okay. What else do we have? Yes, it is. Always interesting. Report of the week is always nice. And thanks for showing up and saying hi, my friend. It's really, really nice. You know what, Keegan? What I understand is some of it is audio broadcast of television shows. When you go to the Supreme Master TV website, you notice that they actually have TV shows and broadcasts on FM relays. Actually, even on the shortwave side, they did not announce shortwave until very recently when they added shortwave to the announcements that they give out. But they were talking about where you can get it on cable. Keegan. Actually, the other day they were talking about all the different cable companies that you can subscribe to Supreme Master TV on your TV cable service. And I was so intrigued, I almost, just for the fun of it, looked out my local cable and see if I could switch one of my channels for Supreme Master TV just to see what it was like. And but I didn't find it on the grid here, you know. So yeah, there was. I could hear it, Joe Sombra. I did hear interference, so there was some interference that popped up. Absolutely. So yeah, they're gonna sail. They better hope the current isn't too strong, or they'll sail over the edge. We'll never see them again in their cruise ship. But if they fall off the edge, they fall where? In space? They fall off the edge and are permanently in space or something? I don't know. I have questions for these guys. Man. Hey, Rich in Atlanta, Georgia. Nice to have you on board. Decoding some HFDL data bursts on 8912 upper sideband using PC HFDL. This might be some interest to your utilities discussion. Yes, absolutely. It's all part of my notes that are growing every day, so I should have a World of Utilities column for the next 10 years. Bob, guys, nice to have you on board. M2DET, Bob, in Long Beach, New York. And oh, they even have. Oh, wow. Bobby says Supreme Master TV has a Roku app, so you can actually have Supreme Master TV on your Roku. Oh man. Hatan Bali says I'm almost convinced that flat earthers are just running a scam to drink beer and attract. You know what? Why not? I would start something like that. You know. Okay, the Earth is flat. We're having a big party on this ship. Bring all beautiful people and let's drink and have sex everywhere. I don't know. That'd be my kind of thing for a week. I should not have said that right now, but anyways, who cares? DJK Solo, nice to have you on board. Happy Friday. Oh man, nice to have everybody here. No, they're not misleading, Keegan. They do have a TV channel. So, oh, I've not Mad Radio. So, using Grid Tracker when monitoring FT8. Okay, I'm gonna try that. Grid Tracker. Okay. Mickey says, "Is the flat Earth cruise ship going through the Bermuda Triangle?" Maybe that's where they're going to the edge. I don't know. And what do they see at the edge? And when do they know that this is the edge? I mean, is there an indication that this is the edge? I'm wondering. There must be, is there a little, somebody put up a sign that says, "Welcome to the edge of the earth." That would be nice. If I had a couple of millions, you know what? I would actually have some ship go through and have this giant banner saying, "Welcome to the edge of the world," where that ship is gone. Maybe that would scare off a few people. They say, "I was right, we're at the edge." Take care, Matt. See you tomorrow. Always nice to have everybody here, for sure. Well, I believe there's something like that, Matt Radio DX. It rings a bell, absolutely. DJ Queso, what I'm drinking? Well, talking of edge of the earth, a Loch Ness monster beer at first, and right now I'm in Dead Valley, so that's pretty much what I should look like at the end of this one. Oh God. I think they claim that Antarctica is the perimeter of the world. Huh, so okay. Well, Sheldon says they claim that there is an ice wall at the edge. They believe that Antarctica circles the edge, preventing people from going over the edge. So that means that guy that actually went through Antarctica from one side to the other couldn't have done so because he would have fallen off the edge. David Arden, do you recycle all those empty beer bottles? Yeah, well, here we have deposits. So each bottle is 10 cents deposit that you pay when you buy your beer. So you can go back to the grocery store or whatever you buy them and get the money back. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened, Sheldon. He had to walk around the edge. So that guy that did it walked around the edge. Piet Modrian student, given your cruise comments, we know it's 8% beer. Well, you know what? I would have the same comments even if I did not drink beer. So on that side of things, I'm not very shy. I'm going to tell you guys that. Okay, more QSLs before I say something bad again. I'm in a happy mood today, which is nice. Radio Berlin International. Look at that, guys. Radio Berlin QSL cards. Radio Berlin QSL cards. Now, this is so cool. Do they have the data in the back? Yeah, all the data. Look at that. Look at that. That was my old address. I'm just gonna, do this. And look at that. RBI. RBI. Radio Berlin International. October 10th, 1985. For a reception report at French from October 8th, 1985. Wow. Another Radio Berlin at the top and a Radio Budapest, Hungary at the bottom. So this is another Radio Berlin. And this is Radio Budapest. Radio Budapest, Hungary. So that one's from 1987. Time flies, man. Radio Budapest. What do we have here? Look at that. Vatican Radio QSL cards. Do they still QSL? I think they do. I should write in for a QSL card. Radio Vatican Radio. Another one here at the bottom. Another one here. And another one there. Very Vatican-like cards. And we've got Deutsche Welle QSL card. That's DW today. Still exists. Do they QSL? That's a good question. If you send a reception report to DW, do they QSL again today? I wonder. Radio Cairo. Look at that. They're still using 9900 kilohertz. Same frequency they're using today, except today there's no audio, so you can't listen to anything. Another one here from Cairo. And this one is a colored one from Cairo, Radio Cairo. Once again, 9900 kilohertz, and that's in April 1987. 9805 on March 84. And 9900 on January 88. These are nice QSLs. This brings me back to, I'm so nostalgic. Hey, David, in Barcelona, in Juan Amigo. These are for you. Radio Exterior de España, QSLs. Look at that. Let's look at the back. Here, the back. Look at that, guys. REE, Radio Exterior de España, QSL cards. This one, my first ever QSL card from Radio Exterior de España in 83. And they were called, at that time, I don't know if you, for those that have been listening for a while, remember when Radio Exterior de España called itself Spanish Foreign Radio? They had that name change at the point. When I QSL'd it, it was Radio Exterior de España. But that period of time, they changed. It was Spanish Foreign Radio. More Radio Exterior de España QSLs. Look at that. I remember finding this one nice. I don't know why. The design or the painting or whatever. Look at that. Look at that, guys. In 1984. I was 15 years old when I did this. This is nuts. And more Radio Exterior de España. I would QSL a lot of stations many times. More here? Yep. So here's Radio Exterior de España again. Here's one. Here's another one there. Radio Exterior de España here. Kind of nice. Sorry for the glare of the lights, but look at that. Radio Exterior de España. More Radio Exterior de España again. Look at that. Here. Radio Exterior de España. That brings me back so way back. And I would put these little stickers to kind of show, give the details of the back so I didn't have to take them off every time to see what's the frequency and time I listened to it back then. This is so cool. Man, this is making me nostalgic now. I want to listen to Shortwave from 1985 or something. What else do we have? Ray Lyle, nice to have you on board. Yeah, I know. Flattered. Completely nuts. Totally. Ray Lyle says, if you want to know what the edge of the world looks like, check out the album cover of Kansas Point of No Return. Sheldon says, as we said, if the world is flat, they could broadcast on VHF, UHF. They wouldn't need shortwave. Absolutely. Line of sight would work great. How come I'm not listening to... Aren't they saying that Australia is not real? It's like a fake land or something? Mickey has a Radio Berlin International stamp with last day of broadcast. Awesome stuff. Wow. Amazing. Absolutely. Amazing. If you go to the intervalsignal.net website, they have the audio of the last broadcast, and you feel that they are really, really not happy about the fact that things are changing and that some people are going to lose their... that was somebody new us. I don't have an HF up converter. It's all built in the SDR1. It's all in. You don't have to do anything. It's all there. No up converter to configure or anything. Glenn T, nice to have you here. It says grandmother and grandfather were from Budapest, Hungary. Mickey, yes, Vatican Radio still QSLs with the new logo for Vatican News. Oh, I need to do that. Oh, I need to QSL. I am going to QSL DW. I'll QSL Vatican Radio. I need to QSL those. Hey, Todderbird, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Well, Michael Netz, nice to have you on board. What's going on with Brother Stair? I don't know. I hope he's going to rot in jail at some point. For sure. Haven't heard any news of what's happening with his own little things. I don't have this QSL card of Radio Exterior de España. Oh man. Mickey says my first shortwave QSL was August 2372, Radio Netherlands. I had a QSL for every August 23rd until they went on the air. Oh really? Oh wow. Oh, that's so kind of cool. My first QSL card was WRFR in Okeechobee, Florida. That was my first ever in 1982. Take care, Jerry DX. Have a show tomorrow. A QSL car. A car with a QSL printed on. That would be an interesting one. David says, just awesome, Michelle. Seeing those QSLs is just beyond cool to me. I wasn't even born at the time. I wish I could enjoy the bands as they were back then with my current gear. Hey, Jeffrey. Nice to have you on board from chilly New Hampshire. Yeah, it's pretty cold here, too. I got minus 14 here. So, you know. Glenn says, funny that the Vatican would have a shortwave station. Yeah, you know, I guess they want to propagate, you know, the ideas of the Catholic Church around the world. Their news bulletins are surprising. You know, I'm not a religious guy. I removed the Pope here and Pope that, whatever. 5778. That noise here. It's on 50. Oh, it's Morse code, eh? Yeah, I hear it. I hear the Morse code, 5778 CW. I'll put it in upper sideband and lower the... I hear 5778, the Morse code station. Okay, thank you, Mad Radio DXer. Thanks. I'll be able to check that out for sure. I'll check that out actually after the show today. 30s, says Keegan. Here it's 30s. Here it's close to 0 Fahrenheit. It's going to drop to 0 Fahrenheit tonight and even go maybe below a little bit. For sure. So I'm receiving the number station in Morse code 5778 here. So, by the way, I'm just going to do a little self-promotion after 2 hours and 6 minutes into the show. If you guys like what I do, want to help out somehow, you can send me a little something through PayPal or through Patreon. So you can go to paypal.me/shortwave or send it to the Yahoo email that I'm posting here if you're already on PayPal, or you could send me or be part of 11 patrons that are giving me something every month. Patreon.com/radio and computers. And thanks for everybody that have donated. And I hope that maybe somebody that have never donated before might actually give a little something. And thanks for all those that have donated through 2018. Okay. Shit on RV. First QSL was from Radio RSA, South Africa, in 78. The second was Radio Baghdad in 78. Keegan has 11780, which is Radio Nacional Amazonas in Brazil. Pretty cool. Few more QSLs to look at. We have Swiss Radio International. Look at that. Swiss Radio International. That's nice. I believe this one, is that one the first one? Yeah, this one I think is the first one from Swiss Radio. In February 84. Wow. Radio Moscow. That was the International Year of Peace, I believe. They had this like children thing. Radio Moscow again at the bottom. I remember somebody pointing out, I mean, in Canada and the United States, you know, this is 1983, streets were filled with cars. I mean, it was a normal fact of North America, I guess. And somebody my brother, I believe it's my brother, pointed out to me that every QSL card that shows streets from Radio Moscow had very little traffic. And there were very little cars almost in every street that they showed QSL cards. And I thought, you're kind of right. It seems there's not that many people with cars in the USSR back then. So, and I think it's my brother that kind of pointed out these facts to me back then. Look at all little cars they have, and they're all lattice. Oh, this one. This is one that a lot of you probably remember fondly. I enjoyed actually our programs, even though the mission of the station was religious at the basics. HCJB in Quito, Ecuador. This was my first QSL from them. This is for the International Year of Telecommunications in '83. This is a card from 9 April '83. Here's another one here. And here's one with the populations of Ecuador that they were surely trying to bring Jesus in their lives because that was their mission. HCJB, I really enjoyed their programming and everything, but I've over the years read quite a few stories that also show you the bad side of what HCJB also was all about, the way that they forced many communities into, religious stuff. There's, HCJB, there's a dark side to HCJB's religious stuff also. Radio Austria. Look at that one. That one I remember getting out of the envelope and was like, whoa, what the hell is that? This one I enjoyed. It was a very nice, picture of some Austrian or some, nice. That for me was like, oh yeah, that's Austria for me. I don't know. There's another one, QSL. These are nice. Radio Austria from 84, 84, 84, and 89. This is cool. More Austria QSLs here. More Austria QSLs. Some of them that I will have stories behind them. Radio Austria from 92. That's be an interesting one. Radio Austria still has a German language broadcast on 6155. I wonder if they QSL. I would need to try that out. That's another one I want to try. Let's try to get a 2019 QSL card off of what's left of Radio Austria. These are beautiful ones from Radio Austria. Look at that. Those were really nice. Really nice cards. And as you see, I've taken care of them. And I put them in these little plastic envelopes in a binder to make sure that they stay as beautiful as possible from the time that they've been from. My first ever QSL card from Austria is this one at the top. And that is the Austrian transmitter site with some sunset or something. Here's Radio France International. TDF, RFI, Radio France International. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. So cool to see these things, and it brings me back such a long way back. Does Radio France still QSL? I don't know. I'm sorry, but I will say what I always said. When I received the QSLs from Call Israel, I always thought, man, these cars are so ugly. I'm sorry, but I mean, I got these cars and was like, wow, they are so ugly. Can they make beautiful cars like anybody else? Man. And another one from Israel. And the bottom here, Radio Sofia, Bulgaria, which became Radio Bulgaria after a certain time. So nice cards. Nice cards. Let's take a pause and look at what people have to say before we continue and not bore too much out of you guys with QSL cards. Fanny Xanakis, Facts of Life, Cars in the Streets. 93, 95, I believe at this time is Radio Exterior de Argentina in 93, 95 from WRMI. I think no signal here. HCJB had pretty much a great signal all over North America, Matambali, I could say that. Bobby Burgess says Radio Havana, Cuba, English 9720. David Arden says my first QSL card was from HCJB. Yeah, well, I actually have disabled everything. That's why it works. It's just crazy. Piet Mondrian student, whenever I see Lada, I know there's going to be an accident. I saw a Russian supercar called Lada. May have been a convert car. Who knows? Yes, Matambali. 9530 is, what do they call that? They call it Akbar Mufriha on 9530, but that's from the Ascension Island transmitter site on 9530. The only frequency you can still listen to radio HCJB direct from Ecuador. And let me just, oops, wrong keyboard. 9530. They do have 9530 or 35. Akbar Mufriha. But the only frequency you can still listen to HCJB from Ecuador that still exists is 6050 kilohertz in the evening here in North America. Like I believe it's like from 21 to 0200, something like that. I've heard it a few times in the past year, a couple of times quite good. And they do QSL if you want to have a HCJB QSL 2019. Why not try to QSL them from 6050 kilohertz? Hey Fastload, nice to have you here. Report of the week says you sent reception reports to 6155 Radio Austria in 2015. They sent QSL letter and stickers, but no card. I'm going to have to try that. A car that could fly a card trek. Oh, man. What else do we have? Thanks, guys. So, any other cards that I've got? Radio Sofia, Bulgaria. Once again, from 83 and 84. Radio Sofia, Bulgaria. Look at that. Pretty cool to see these cards. It's like at the back of one of them. Yeah, look at that. Look at the back. This is the handwritten back to my name. December of 83. Wow. For a reception report of November 27th, 83. This is so neat. Radio Polonia, which became... so they had Radio Polonia, but they also had Radio Warsaw or something like that. At some point, they changed their name at some point. So Radio Polonia, do they have... yeah, look at that. The back to Mr. Gilles de Tourneau. And that's French. So that means I made a reception report for the French language at the time. Radio Polonia. Wow. That is nice. Oh, these are going to be nice here. Look at that, guys. Some of them are exceptionally, for me, they're important. So, Rai, Italy, with that Italian woman that you guys remember. for you guys. So this Rye Italy. Look at this one, guys. This is from Cameroon. This is from Cameroon. This looks so official with the stamp, and look at that at the behind it, the schedule of the station. Schedule of the station. I heard them on 4850 kilohertz on December 30th. December 30th. What the hell? Cortana. I don't want to talk about anything. Cortana, please go away. Thank you. 1996. Oh, that was late. 1996. I thought it was like in the 80s or something. This one from HCJB. The one, if you look at the back, so here's the back of HCJB's card. This is the back. Well, and Deutsche Welle from 1998, which is probably one of the last QSL cards I got from DW. I don't remember QSLing DW in the year 2000s ever. Maybe it's time we investigate in QSL. I'll investigate in QSL and send that information to Mickey at his very interesting column in the CIDX. Radio Portugal. Look at that. Radio Portugal. Radio Portugal. These are from 1984. Radio Beijing, because before China Radio International was called China Radio International, it was called Radio Beijing. And back then, they didn't have any relays. You had to listen to it direct from China. And before that, they were called Radio Peking. So, but when that was going on with these QSL cards, it was a whole different type of programming than you get today. March 84 on 15520. Wow. 15520. This is cool. I'm nostalgic, guys. I'm going to start watching YouTube videos of old stations tonight and drink to the fact that I'm getting old and all of these are gone. Radio Beijing, 88, 85. Look at that. Radio Beijing. These are nice cards, actually. Nice little cards. Radio Beijing, also here. New China, apparently. So, wow. Radio Beijing. Aha, coming home. Coming home. Radio Canada International. Look at that, guys. And Radio Canada International, by the way, had a very, very unique way of actually verifying a QSL card. So you would receive a QSL, but they wanted you to fill up the QSL details in the back, send it back to them, and you would get that QSL approved and verified. So, I mean, these are QSLs, but they're not official because I haven't done the required sending it back. I did it once just because I wanted to have something official, and I'm trying to remember which one it is. Let me check. Is it that one here? Yeah, that's the one. So here was in 84 a QSL card from Radio Canada International, and look at that, guys. I had sent my reception report like they wanted, and at the bottom it says verified, because you had to send it back. Look at all the little details. That's my handwriting that you see there. All the details on my reception report. I sent it back. They sent it back to me, said verified. So this one is technically my only official Radio Canada International QSL card because it is verified, while the other ones are not. And I didn't care, actually. RAE Argentina, we were just talking about that. And I'm actually waiting for a QSL card from them. I have emailed a QSL card request to them in last year, in 2018. When they started a broadcast on WRMI, they had special numbered QSLs. I actually sent a reception report, I would guess, I don't know, April, May, June, something like that. So who knows? Will I receive them or not? I have no idea. So let's look at the chat room once again. Pretty much. Let's say hello to everybody. Ralph CJ, nice to have you on board, says 234 kilohertz and found some ABBA. Hope it's not Dancing Queen. It's the only song from ABBA I just can't stand. iMapper says one of the Radio Moscow QSL you can see Hotel Russia. It is famous for the huge fire in 77. Nowadays there is huge historical park, really nice modern sightseeing. Cool. Richard's got a carry-on 6050, no audio. Simon Templar loves my QSL collection, quite extensive. Thanks. Pretty cool. Nice to have you on board, Raf, from Luxembourg. Pretty cool. Man Radio DX, one question. Do these stations that get airtime on WRMI or low-power European relays send QSLs? Yes, they do. Man Radio DX, or you can QSL them through that relay. So if you hear Radio Slovakia, you hear Radio Prague on WRMI, you hear Radio Tirana, you can send a QSL. They will acknowledge a QSL card from the relay if you do. Absolutely. Mark Cope says, those cards are amazing. Thanks for sharing. Different time for sure. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Below 30 megahertz, nice to have you on board from Valencia, Spain. PageMaster says, QSL cards are equivalent to postcards, where you can travel the world without leaving the comfort of your home. Absolutely. The only thing is that they are, they have the verification of a time when you actually listened into a station, which is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. John Trigger, nice to have you here. Loves Canada QSL. Fanny says the beautiful Canadian QSLs. Cool. Reporter of the week, 30 margin. Can anyone let me know if you can get signal on 9955? My broadcast South America is going on now. Let's check 9955. I'm hearing 9955. I have the impression of a woman talking. I have the impression of a woman talking on 9955. You got a report? David says, I was fortunate enough to get into radio in time to receive the Voice of Russia and also Radio Serbia International. So I guess I witnessed the end of classic European shortwave. Yeah, it's a woman speaking on 9955. Mickey just emailed you a picture of the EQSL from Radio France recently reported by a listener. Oh, okay, cool. Let me check that out. I must have it here. Let me check that out. RFI QSL. RFI. Oh, look at that. This is nice. Okay. So this is a EQSL that RFI sends out apparently. Look at that, guys. So you can EQSL Radio France International. I'm gonna have to try that. Now I'm all hyped up to QSL card again. I want to have QSLs. So I got Grid Tracker. Thanks, Madrid DXer, for that. Pretty cool. There was our friend here with our QSLs. Here are 3 of his HF QSLs, Simon Templar, from last week. He sent me last week. So here are 3 of his QSLs. Look at that. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Cool. Thanks for sharing your stuff, guys. It's always nice. It's always nice to see what everybody is receiving in it. What's all about. It's all about. Okay. Let's continue checking out what's happening, and then we'll continue a little bit with some more QSLs. If you guys want to see more, QSLs? Tiraboski, nice to have you on board. No, I started at 2000 UTC as usual. Ronald Hester has lots of Sync QSL cards. My first card in 62. More QSLs, please. Are reception letters the same as QSL cards? Sorry. Jason Stafford, nice to have you here. Sure, more QSLs. Everybody wants more QSLs. Hey, Syrian Wello, peace. Yeah, well, some stations didn't have QSLs. I have one here from, I believe it's Radio Pakistan from the 80s. They didn't have QSLs. They sent a verification letter. So they have the same value. It's just that instead of being a card, it's a letter. Pretty much. Okay, let's check out more of my QSL card collection here. So here is 4 Radio Moscow QSLs. One that has now been, this one is kind of a little broken. So Radio Moscow QSL cards. Here's 2 from Radio Moscow. There's a lot of cards on this one though. I don't remember showing this one. There's a lot of cards on this one. And 2 here. And one of the notes that I have from here is that this one here, okay, I received in 86. So it says 31 September 86. I don't know if you guys remember what happened in 86, but in 86, there was the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. And for some reason, my mind's kind of set on this card as the one that always reminds me of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster from, was it, what, April 86, something like that? Pretty sad times. Okay, my first ever QSL card is on this one. But the date isn't right. It's 82. The year isn't right. So this was my first ever QSL card. And I remember getting a Bible in the envelope at the same time of that time. And this is another WYFR QSL. Here's a Vatican radio when Pope John Paul II was the Pope. And another Vatican radio here. So there's some interesting ones here, guys. Okay. This is kind of nice. So here we have Radio Orion, which was a station in South Africa on 3320 kilohertz. And look at that, Radio Orion, 3320 kilohertz. I would hear that easily back then. And in the back, look at that, nice little, dear friend, thank you for your reception report of our Radio Orion broadcast on 22 September 1992, 0152 to 0224 UT on 3320 kilohertz. And they enclosed a frequency schedule. Now this is a special one. Anybody that listened to shortwave back then remembers this was Radio St. Helena from St. Helena Island in the South Atlantic Ocean. They would broadcast only once a year. Only once a year. And here's the details on the back. And they broadcast, and look at that frequency, 11092.5 kilohertz upper sideband. So this one is from 1992, 25th year. So this was an annual broadcast that was done by this station, and they would actually have like a, I don't know, 4 or 5 hour run where they would target different parts of the world for their broadcasts. And that was like the thing, you know, when you would get close to Radio St. Helena Day, you would sit down and listen to your radio on that day. There was nothing else than, I want to hear Radio St. Helena today. Oh man. Radio Cairo at the top. A card from a transmission in 92. Radio Korea in South Korea, or KBS World Radio as they like to be called today. Radio Korea. Whoops. Always difficult to... Radio Korea. Back from 19... Radio Korea was in 19... There's no date on this one. There's a frequency, 15575. The same frequency that nobody can hear today. I mean, you gotta joke about it sometimes, because, I mean, they don't change their frequencies. Well, we don't hear them. These are nice. Radio Prague in March 93. And that's not Paul the Cat for sure. Radio Bucharest, Romania. Before it was called Radio Romania, we would call it Radio Bucharest in Romania. A station that I believe doesn't exist anymore. WJCR in Upton, Kentucky. Look at that, guys. There used to be a station called WJCR. And All India Radio broadcast. Look, this is a QSL from All India Radio. They do still QSL, by the way. If you want to QSL All India Radio, check that out. And I believe that was my first ever QSL. Oh, look at that, guys. A station that back then was the only rock music station, commercial rock music station on shortwave. WRNO, which today is really far from what it was. They had rock music all the time. They were calling themselves the rock of the world. WRNO. And here is another one from WRNO also. The Voice of America received from Delano transmitter site. January 88, Voice of America QSL card, guys. Is this up here, which is a pretty interesting card. And HCJB from 1990 with Ecuadorian mountains in that year. HCJB would have 6 QSL cards every year, and every 2 months you would have that new QSL card, and you could receive all 6 if you emailed them, or not email them, write them in snail mail. I'm sorry, email did not exist. Well, it did exist, but nobody was using it back in the 80s. Some very nice ones here from Radio Australia. This is that the first one? No, I'm not sure it's the first one, but Radio Australia. Look at that, guys. They had some of the most beautiful QSL cards in the world. Having or receiving a QSL card from Radio Australia was one of the cool things you wanted in your mailbox. Because you knew that the card would always be very, very nice. Look at that. Radio Australia once again. Radio Australia. Once again, Radio Australia. I mean, Radio Australia QSL cards were so darn beautiful. More Radio Australia cards here. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. This is the first one. Okay. So, Radio Australia. I remember looking at that one and thinking, wow, what is that guy thinking right now on top of that mountain? These two. So this is 84. So here's another one from Australia. And here's my first from Radio Australia. My first QSL card was this one. And that's from 83. Look at the frequency. I was listening to a Radio Australia on 21740 at 01 UTC. Well, propagation was not the same as today, eh? Look at that. Oh no, this one, oh, I got a wrong sticker because like it says here 9580. 9580 kilohertz, 1249 UT. So I got the wrong sticker for this one, but I did have one with 21740. And I mean, Radio Australia had really nice QSL cards back then. It's incredible the budget that they actually put into QSL cards at a certain time. You know, times have changed. Two more Australia QSL cards. Here's one. Another one here. Here's HCJB again from Quito, Ecuador. I remember watching this one and looking at it and saying, wow, that would be kind of cool to DX Shortwave from that place. So Radio HCJB here, once again. Man. And this is only one of 3 huge binders that I've got. Imagine, guys. Here's Radio RSA in South Africa. The voice of South Africa. Radio RSA. Oh man, look at that. I'm just gonna put my hand here. So look at that. Radio Australia. Radio RSA South Africa. So cool. So cool. Radio Korea from South Korea, which was KBS World Radio. Because today Radio Korea is North Korea. So they're calling themselves KBS World Radio. A station that some of you might remember, Radio Nacional do Brasil, that an English broadcast to North America. I remember they would play that song, oh man, what's the name of that song? Almost every time in the broadcast, when announcing the frequencies. So Radio Nacional do Brasil. 11745, they had a 0200 UTC broadcast to North America in English. It was a 1-hour broadcast, I remember. Oh man. Let's take a little break here and continue. Oh man. What else do we have? Nathan is biased. He likes the Radio Exterior one. Oh man. Maglone, nice to have you on board. Yeah, those signals that they are receiving from space, pretty amazing. And yeah, check that out. Mickey has a lot of his QSLs there. I need to do something about that. Richard says, wonder why Radio Moscow still does. Yeah, you know, I think it's some kind of what's happening with Voice of Russia, aka Radio Moscow, whatever. I don't know why it is. I for some reason they believe that maybe someday they'll come back to shortwave, and it's interesting because they every year they well reserve shortwave frequencies for broadcasts that they never do. But from what I know, the transmitters and everything is there. So they could easily start shortwave again someday. I don't know. Maybe it's in the plans or they're just like preparing in case something goes bad and they'll be back online on shortwave. So Chernobyl disaster, April 25th, 2686. David Arden says, I have one of those Radio St. Helena QSL cards. I also have an amateur radio QSL from there also. That was so cool. Yeah, Marco, that's St. Helena QSL is amazing. David says, Radio Orion QSL 9 days younger than me. Oh, man. Not in EIBI space, Matambali, but they are... they do register shortwave frequencies every year. If you look at the master frequency list for shortwave, but they never broadcast. Bro Weaver, nice to have you here. Keegan's receiving WWVH 15 megahertz. Yeah, 7505 in the evening. WRNO is still there. It's still on shortwave. 7505 kilohertz in the evening. They do have Chinese broadcasts. They have Mandarin broadcasts. Does Radio New Zealand still QSL? Yes, from what I know, they do still QSL card. Absolutely. You can still QSL New Zealand. Absolutely. Tirabuski says it could be Yolngu, an ancient population of the north of Australia. Possible. It's possible. Oh, Richard's got EQSLs from New Zealand, so they EQSL. So... Glenn T says the original guy was probably wondering how we get down from there. How do I get down and not kill myself? Chuck CP Davis says receiving CHU on 7850 in Minnesota. Cool. Let me try 7850. It doesn't come in very often. No, but I might hear 3330. Yeah. I heard 3330. 3330. There's something on 35. I guess that must be some... Sorry, guys. I got that cold. 3455. Probably some aeronautical stuff. What's going on here? 3455 upper sideband. Weaver, that's an amazing collection you got. I know of nobody that has QSLs from the 80s or older. Ah, man. Thanks, Shanari. I was actually on the air on Radio St. Helena. I called in to their station on Radio St. Helena Day. I think the first year they did it, they put my call on the air. I was on the air also, Sheldon. I think that QSL card, the year of that broadcast, I believe I had called in also that time and went on the air. I remember being super nervous of being put on the air on Radio St. Helena and calling from Canada. Yeah, definitely some aeronautical stuff, 3455.
Roger 2244350, that's TPDLC, with Miami next, and SoCal Alpha Juliet Foxtrot Papa. SoCal check coming up.
Aeronautical communications on 3455 upper sideband. Tirabaski, I recently found out that SDR play in RSP1A when I saw your video of Shortwave. Does it work well? It is amazing. The RSP1A is truly amazing for what it is. My review's coming up now because I wanted to test it out properly and do a review that explains a lot of the good and the not so good. I mean, it's not perfect like any radio, but it is amazing. I can tell you that. Richard Cook's got Echo of Hope on 6250. Mickey says, and Sheldon Harvey, I have that on tape. Oh, really? You have that on tape too? Wow. Well, you know what, Bro Weaver? I know some people find that paper QSLs are more official, but honestly, I don't put that official side of things too far. For me, an EQSL is okay. For me, it's as nice. There is something special in getting a QSL card in your mailbox. That's for sure. David says your QSL collection is awesome. Did you receive most of all or all of those on your realistic DX 100? I would say everything that is from 1984 and before is from the DX 100. Starting in 1984 somewhere, there's the DX 302 that I get. Sheldon says, I called in and said hello from CIDX to DXers all around the world. Man. Yeah, no, I would to put them on the wall, I would not put the original ones. I don't want to have them, damaged or anything. So what else do we have in QSL cards? I've got a lot of QSL cards from HCJB. So this one, HCJB's control board, a QSL card from 1983. Well, that looks 1983. Here's that guy really happy with that little statuette or something. Here's a nice little girl. And more QSLs from HCJB. Here's HCJB once again with that was the year of transportation or something. With train, taxi, population of Ecuador. I think it was the Aboriginals of Ecuador or something like that. So it's kind of nice. These are nice little things. Oh, this one's nice. These are kind of cool. Okay. I got a really cool one here. Look at that, guys. 4 VEH from Haiti. They were on 4930 kilohertz, and I would listen to them in the evening. Look at that. That's the back of the card. Radio 4 VEH is pleased to confirm your reception report. 4930 kilohertz. Oh man, that was... And I've got a souvenir with this one because my dad had purchased a aquarium with fish. And I remember the aquarium was not far from the radio, so I would listen to the station and look at the fish in the fish tank. So that's one of the souvenirs I get from this one. This one, Radio Barquisimeto from Venezuela, one of those Venezuelan stations long gone. Radio Barquisimeto, 4990 kilohertz. Man, look at that. By plane with stamps, real stamps and stuff. Por avión. Well, WWV QSL card from 83. Look at that, guys. WWV time signal. CHU Canada QSL card from the 80s. CHU Canada time signal. Pretty cool stuff here. Here's Voice of Vietnam QSL card. Voice of Vietnam QSL card. And this is from 2002. Not too old, this one. 2002. On the back. So, Voice of Vietnam. 2001. QSL card from Radio Havana, Cuba. With their 40th anniversary. Radio Vlaanderen International. Radio Vlaanderen. Which was the station from Belgium. This was from 2001. Radio Vlaanderen from Belgium. 2001. The first QSL that I get from when Voice of Free China called themselves Radio Taipei International. So they became Radio Taipei International, and today it's Radio Taiwan International. So Taiwan QSL cards. Kind of interesting. Kind of interesting to see this. Some Radio Havana, Cuba QSLs. Look at that. Radio Havana, Cuba. In 1990, 1984. QSL cards from Radio Havana, Cuba. And from 88 and 83, and I believe this one here is my first ever QSL card from Cuba in 1983. Radio Havana, Cuba. What's in the back? Yeah, they just printed quickly the frequency and time that I was listening to their station and put it in an envelope. Wow, Radio Havana, Cuba. They do sell QSL, by the way, if you want to have a QSL card. They even have their 2019 pocket calendar if you want right now. These are QSL cards, and the same QSL cards exactly on both sides. From Swiss Radio International. So Swiss Radio International QSL cards. Yeah, like this. So both of them are the same on both sides, actually. Which is kind of funny. I probably never noticed because I never wanted to have the same QSL twice. But I, anyways, got them here. Radio Budapest. Radio Budapest. Shortwave Club. That I was a member of, by the way. And you had to, I don't remember what it was, the rules. You had to send a certain amount of reception reports in a year or something. I remember doing it and being a full member of their club. Radio Budapest QSL cards. Once again, from the good old days. And here, details of the back over here. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, talking about Radio New Zealand, guys. Here's just almost made the keyboard crash. Radio New Zealand. The first one I've got is the one at the top. And so that's the first QSL I've ever got from Radio New Zealand International. On 6100 kilohertz at 1100 UT in 1983. And I was so darn happy to get New Zealand because I couldn't get them. And so I was really, really happy. And this is another one from later, 1990 on 17675. Radio New Zealand. Thank you, sir. And a lot of sheep, I would guess. United Arab Emirates Radio, UAE Radio. Look at that. QSL cards from United Arab Emirates Radio. Pretty simple, but, you know, another station. But the transmitter side is still there, I believe, in UAE. There's some relays coming out of it. But there's no more broadcasts from United Arab Emirates. One that I loved QSL cards, and I just was so happy to receive them. Radio Japan had so many beautiful QSL cards. They still do. I've seen someone on a link on a website that actually posted his QSLs that he received like a couple of weeks back, and they still do have really beautiful cards. Look at that. Radio Japan was one of those stations you were really, really happy to get their QSLs. They were so beautiful. I mean, wow. And back then, no relays. You were pretty much, well, they had the Gabon relay for a while. I remember back then. There are other Radio Japan QSL cards here. Look at that, guys. Beautiful. This one, I remember, I got it and I said, there's snow in Japan. Because in my head, there is no snow in Japan. Except at the top of, the mountains or something. And I remember when I got this, I was like, there's snow in Japan, really? My ignorant teenage years where I didn't know a lot about the world around me. But these are nice QSL cards. What's in the back? Just, like the back looks like this. Here we go. Radio Japan. Oh, this one is via Gabon. And they had actually this little stamp that they would put that says it was via the Gabon relay in Africa. So when you would actually have one, you'd have that sticker on the card stating that you were listening to the relay. That was pretty nice. Pretty nice. Let's go check the chat room a little more. Hope you guys are enjoying that QSL collection. Let's go down. Let's go down here. Teraboski, amazing. I'm still at the first part of this fantastic hobby. I'm studying for the ham radio license, so I'm doing some practice and listening. Cool. Yeah, well, what I did, Glenn, that's what I would do a lot of the times. I would print out my EQSLs on paper. I would print them on photo paper so that they'd be nice and beautiful and put them in an album, but I would still keep the image of the EQSL. Bro Weaver, so is there anything on Shortwave talking about the yellow vest riots in France? Well, yes, absolutely. BBC World Service will talk about it. Radio France will talk about it. Most major news services do talk about it, for sure. Andy Coley, nice to have you here. Just be sure that everything is all right. What do we have? Mark Cope says, I sent an EQSL to my KBC and I got an email back from the show host Eric Van himself. Cool. Of course, like David says, paper QSLs are objects you can hold in your hand, keep reliably for posterity. EQSLs are valid too, only made of bytes. They can be printed, but then that doesn't come out from the station itself. No, it's of course doesn't have the same effect. That's for sure. I mean, there's nothing like opening your mailbox and getting an envelope with QSL cards in it. It's just nuts. Knowing that envelope traveled from that country to here, it's pretty amazing. Cool QSL card show, especially WV and CHU. Cool. Miki says, I still have several Radio Budapest stickers as shown on your QSL. You had to link them. God awful taste. Yeah, I remember there were a few things like that was like, oh man. Hey, Dirty Diaper 21, nice to have you on board. So always nice to have you here. There's a show tomorrow, for sure. Sakura DX, nice to have you on board. Happy New Year. Nice to have you here. Matthew Wells, nice to have you on board. Can amateur radio affect internet? Not really, but internet can affect amateur radio in different ways. All the interference and everything that's happening. KC Red Dragon, nice to have you on board. All we know, Bro Weaver, is that WBCQ transmitter sites is supposed to be on the air by spring. That's what I heard last. We'll see. We'll see. No other news than that, actually. So, any other things you guys want to add in before we leave? We've been at 3 hours 5. I'm going to take a break now and take it easy for the rest of the evening. I'll keep the other QSL cards for tomorrow. We'll mix in more QSL tomorrow and tuning the bands. I hope everybody enjoyed the show, by the way. And of course, last reminder, if you want to help me out, you can, of course, send me your donations through PayPal or Patreon. We'll be back tomorrow at 2000 hours UTC. So, hey, why not join in? And we'll have more QSLs tomorrow. Some exotic ones coming in here. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there. And there's some that have stories behind them. We just haven't had those yet. But we'll have a little more tomorrow if you guys enjoy that. PayPal.me/shortwave or the Yahoo email that I put here if you want to donate via PayPal. Here you go. You can also join and become a patron on patreon.com/radio and computers. And if you don't like electronic stuff, send me a little email at officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com, and I'll tell you that you can send me a international postal money order by mail if you don't use any electronic stuff, where I can get a donation. Thanks everybody for their donations. It's always nice to have all of you on board. So we're going to take it easy for the rest of the evening. We have another show coming up tomorrow. So hopefully you enjoyed that. 2000 hours UTC as usual for tomorrow. I will try the buzzer. 4625. 4625. And I don't hear it. No buzzer here tonight, Richard. Hey, Hot Noodle, nice to have you on board from Norway. So see you guys tomorrow, and we'll go through the last of the QSLs. Hope you guys are enjoying the show and you enjoyed the show today. See you tomorrow. 2000 hours UTC is the time to be back tomorrow. And great to have all of you here. Pretty cool to see everybody here. So 2000 hours Universal Time. Take care, my friends. Love you all. Stay safe. And yeah, they are, David, they're already scanned. I have it in a OneDrive folder in the cloud. And but I would need to put it. I know there's many places where you can actually post them online and share them with everybody, and I really should do that, absolutely. So take care, everybody. Love you all. Stay safe. See you tomorrow, 2000 UTC, for another Shortwave show. Stay safe. Love you all. Take care, my friends. And QSL, all the stations. And get yourself a little collection while you still can do it. Bye-bye, everybody.